So, folks, I am Scott Stoll. I am the head of developer relations for AppCircle.io. I'd just like to take a moment to introduce the company before we get started here. At AppCircle, we do, I'm sorry, my bad. We do end-to-end cloud-based mobile CICD. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Okay. Right. So here's what happens. Okay. Do you believe in unicorns? You know, unicorns, the thing out of your head, unicorns. Because what happens is you push your code, okay, after you do your commits. You're using commits, right? So you push your code, and then the completed binary gets sent wherever you want. Okay, the binary can get sent to your testers. It can get pushed to the Play Store and the App Store. You can send it to your mother-in-law. You can have it and a link to it emailed to yourself. And what happens is everything else is fairy dust and unicorns because we handle that. The nice thing about this is you don't need dedicated resources. You don't have to buy equipment, fight with the servers. You get shorter release cycles. You save money. You get a lot fewer headaches. Okay, basically, that's the best part, is fewer headaches. So moving on to the presentation itself. What is CICD? Before we get into exactly what CICD is, we really should take a look at the common stages in the software lifecycle. Now, first of all, of course, we want to write it. And let's see here. Okay, just checking chat. After we write it, the next thing we need to do is make sure we didn't break anything. Right, so we check that out, and then we do all of the tests that we have set up. You're using tests, right? Sure you are. So we run all of our tests. The next thing you want to do is check it with live data and then tell someone it's ready to be released. So we all like to write code. Okay, we're not necessarily DevOps people. And so the question in our mind is going to be, can we automate this stuff? Can we just make it go away so we don't have to deal with it? And that's where CI/CD comes in. So CI, okay, stands for continuous integration. And the idea here is you are continuously merging your code in small chunks, little tiny bits. Okay, that's one of the important things. You're doing little tiny merges and pushes many, many times a day. You're not one of those people doing one commit after like 8 hours of work, are you? So anyway, you're doing lots of commits as the day goes on. And all of your tests are being run automatically. You don't have to mess with it. All you do is commit and push and move on. If anything goes wrong, what's going to happen is you're going to get notified and you find out. And the nice thing is, since you're doing this in small chunks, you can fix the new bugs very quickly because you don't have a whole lot of code that you need to dig through. Which that's a lot better than sitting there on a Friday trying to dig through 5 hours worth of work because something went wrong. And it's, you know, there's nothing better than trying to troubleshoot a bug at 5:30 in the afternoon on a Friday and you have concert tickets. Not where you want to be. So next, what is CD? Well, we have to take on a different question. Which CD? Because there are two. Okay? There is continuous delivery, or we could be talking about continuous deployment. So to understand the difference, let's take a look at that life cycle again. Okay? We write it. Did it break existing code? Does it pass and meet requirements? Check it with live data and deploy the binary. When you're dealing with continuous delivery, what you're doing is you're checking to make sure it passes and meets requirements, checking it with live data, and then you are manually going to deploy with a human. So basically, you're going to notify someone that this is ready to go. That's an important difference than continuous deployment, which is where you actually do the automated deployment by pipeline. So every single time you push, this is getting sent out. The binaries are being sent out to your testers, to the app stores, to your mother-in-law, wherever you're sending it. So the next question is, why would we want to still make ourselves do this stage manually instead of just having it done automatically? And it really comes down to one thing. If the Terminator movies taught us nothing else, we don't trust everything to machines. Okay. So the next question, why would we want to do this? Okay. So here are a number of benefits. Okay, first of all, we can iterate faster. We get immediate feedback if there's a problem, and then we can find the bugs fast because we're not crawling through a whole lot of code to try to find them. We have a lower failure rate because we're able to catch everything quickly, lower costs because we're not trying to do all of this ourselves, not trying to maintain the machines and buy the equipment, and also lower blood pressure. And I don't know about you, but that's the one I like the best. Lower blood pressure is always a good thing. So there's one other question, though, that one thing that people tend to say, and that is, it takes so long to deal with. It takes so long to set it up. And, I say to that, it doesn't take very long to set up if you don't have to fight configuration files for half a day or more. Okay, what if the configuration file stage was actually really easy? And, if you're thinking it takes too long, challenge accepted. I'm going to show you how this can be done in about 10 minutes. And actually, our company likes to say you can do it in under 5, but I'm trying to give a presentation at the same time. So I'm going to give myself a little longer. Let's take a look at the steps that it's going to take to set any CICD up. Okay, you're going to need to create a new build, pick your target device, tell it what your source code is. We set up our configuration. We're going to add the repo. We're going to say that this needs to be a signed app. Okay, so we're going to add that step in here too. And we're going to say we don't have a key store. I'm going to do this in Android, and I'm going to make it a Flutter app. This platform does do Flutter, React Native, straight Android, straight iOS, and SmartFace. So I am a Flutter person, as if a lot of people didn't already know that. And so we're going to generate our key store. Then we're going to use that configuration we're going to use that signing identity with the configuration and click build. And that will start building things, obviously. So there is one other thing we need to look at real quick though, okay? Warning. Live coding. We all know about live coding. The most important part of live coding is to appease the goddess before you start. So before we get going, let me reach over here. There we are. And we're going to sacrifice a MacBook. Now, why a MacBook? Why not a PC? Nobody's going to miss a MacBook. Alrighty, let's get going here. So the first steps are going to be to add a new build, pick a target device, and pick the source code. So we're going to come over here and log in. And of course, I've already got my App Circle test. You can sign up with email right down here. Standard email confirmation, blah, blah. We all know that one. So we log in and we end up here at the main menu. Now we have build, signing identities, distribution, store, submit. It's all also mimicked right over here. We have emulators and simulators here. You can build an iOS app with Flutter without owning a Mac. Yes, I said that. You do not have to have a Mac. But that's a whole different presentation. So let's see here. What was our, what is our step again? We are going to add a new build and pick the target device. So we're going to add a build. Testing. Target operating system. Android. Source code. Flutter. Not SmartFace, Flutter. Save that. All right. So let's see. What's next? We are going to look at the basic configuration. Okay. Get back over here. We go into our new build. And did I click? Okay. Oh, we already actually took care of that. I'm sorry. Good morning. So we're going to skip down here then. And we're going to add the repo. Now, there's a little asterisk here. And that is because sometimes binding the repo can take some time. Sometimes it's very fast. Sometimes it's not so fast. So we're going to prepare for it to take a little while here and be pessimistic. So copy my test code. Go back over here. Paste the repo. This is very difficult. Now, while that is binding, let's answer one other question here. Okay, people often say that, we're not big enough. Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, wrong button. Do you really think you have to be big to iterate faster or get that fast feedback? You have to be big to find bugs quickly, lower your failure rate, drop your cost. And these are all, that's not about App Circle. This is CICD. You can look anywhere on the web and see these are the things people say that CICD in general does. And I guarantee you lower blood pressure is not for big companies. I've worked in big companies. There's nothing about them that's going to lower your blood pressure. So just saying. All right. We have bound our repo. So let's take a look here and see what's next. We're going to generate our key store and iOS certificate. Now, there's an asterisk there. This is probably going to take the longest amount of time. If you have, well, I'm sure you have generated your own key stores and such. So, this can take a bit. So we go over here to signing identities. And you can do iOS certificates, provisioning profiles, all that wonderful stuff. And we now have Android Key Store. We're going to add a new one. We do not have one to upload, so we're going to generate it. Key Store password. Okay, I practiced this a little bit. What can I say? Testing. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Testing. Alias. Testing. Alias password. Testing. 25 years. Circle is spelled L-E, not E-L. Remember what I said about live coding? Okay, now we are creating a key store. This is going to take a little bit, as I said. So people often have one other objection. They think it's expensive. And there's a really easy way to look at this, okay? If it wasn't worth the price, yeah. Okay, I wouldn't get paid. If it's not worth the price, my dog would starve. Okay, think of it this way. It's like lawyers. Nobody wants to pay lawyers, but they're worth the money. That's why people pay lawyers. So how much actually is it? Well, all the companies are fairly competitive. You can check them all out. For App Circle, you get $40 a month with one build at a time, 60 minutes per build. Or if you want to do 2 builds at a time at 120 minutes each, it's 165. Think about it this way, okay? If you're working by yourself and you're writing apps, I sure hope you're charging more than $40 in US an hour. Really? That's your entire month's CICD bill. $40. If you are running a shop where you need to have 2 builds simultaneously, I guarantee you that shop is charging more than 165 US an hour. And that's your bill for the whole month. And like I said, they're all pretty competitive. Take a look around, but we believe we are the easiest. And as you can see here, I'll show you the rest in just a moment. But everybody who's writing apps for a living can afford this. In fact, the question is, why are you wasting your time and money not doing it? So we now have our key store. Let's go back to our build. Okay, and actually real quick, let's just take a look at what our next stage is. And our next stage, actually, I skipped a slide. Live coding. Don't you love it? We're going to use this new signing configuration. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go into our config. Debug is done. We have no additional arguments, APK. We can turn the auto build on if we want, but that's only if you're pushing. Save that. Signing configuration. Oh, look, it's already here. All I have to do is click a button. All done. Okay. What's next? Oh, well, you've already seen this slide. So click build. I'm telling you, this is hard. I have to like push buttons on a mouse and stuff. So there we go. Now, anytime you do CICD, sometimes there are going to be other builds ahead of you. That's wherever you go. It's going to spin up a virtual machine. It is installing Flutter to the virtual machine and doing all this happiness. Now, the thing is, it's going to run your tests. It's going to do your build, but you have already pushed, and that triggers this right here. So you're just moving on your way, writing more code. You'll get notified if there's a problem. Okay, no news is good news. Just keep working. So as far as all your testing is going, goes out your build, notifying your testers that there's a new build, getting a link to the new build in your email. It's fairy dust and unicorns. You don't have to deal with it. So, and that's the important thing, because you've got other things you can do with your time. You can be writing code. All right, so there's really just one more thing that we need to go over that I need to ask you about. Give me your emails. Give me. No, really, give me your emails. Okay. Now, why would you want to give me your emails? Free stuff. So send me an email. Tell me you want free stuff. Okay. And you can reach me. It's a really complicated email, scott@appcircle.io. And you can always catch up with me, Scott Stoll 2017 on Twitter. I actually do most of my tweeting under that account for Flutter and my Flutter community work. So there is that. Also, you can catch us live most Wednesdays with Hump Day Q&A at the Flutter Community YouTube channel. So with that, thank you very much for putting that in there. Now, the build typically will take about 8 minutes. Okay, so there's really no reason to sit here and stare at it for 8 minutes. And that's another reason you go back to work. If there's a problem, you'll hear within 10 minutes or so, most likely. And with that, come on out, catch us at Hump Day Q&A. Drop me a line, tell me you want free stuff, follow, tell me you don't like my tweets. And one last thing, thanks for coming. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the conference.